And showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the latest episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. A look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I'm executive editor of the ChannelPro Network and one of your hosts for this program. With me is the other host, Eric Simpson, who is Senior Vice President and CIO of SPC International, a business improvement and training organization for MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how goes it today?
It goes fantastic on a Friday, Rich. Getting ready for a lot more news and activities over the next several weeks, as we have a lot of we got a few key events that you and I both will be attending, and looking forward to continuing updating our viewers on some of the prior news that we've reported in the past. And I think we'll get a kick out of one of our humor stories today.
We are going to revisit a topic we've spoken about on this series before, a little bit later on.
A serious topic, I might add.
Very serious.
And how are you doing today, Rich?
I'm doing well, thank you. I am back home in Seattle. I was in San Antonio for a tech data conference all week. That was very interesting, and actually our top story of the week comes out of that event. Let's plunge into that. As long as we're talking about conferences. During the fall meeting of their Tech Select partner community, Tech Data announced that they are launching 2 new bundled solutions, packaged solutions that they're offering with Cisco. They are called Branch Interconnect and Clinic Interconnect. Basically, they are sort of office-in-a-box kind of solutions that combine networking, security, and collaboration technologies from Cisco with a managed services front end, sort of a management interface, single pane of glass that Tech Data has created. Plus, Tech Data provides outsourced managed services for the solution. And so the idea with Branch Interconnect is you're supposed to be able to go to a retail outlet or a law office, say, drop this bundle in there, get the customer all set up to have secure networking in the office environment. Very quick and easy, affordable. Like I said, it comes with the services, so it's actually very easy for a partner to sell, even if they are not themselves an MSP. Clinic Interconnect is exactly the same in terms of the technologies involved, but because it's going into doctors' offices and doctors need to share medical data with insurance companies and other doctors and so on, all of whom are governed by the HIPAA regulation. There is some secure healthcare industry-friendly data exchange technology included in that bundle as well. But, Tech Data and all the distributors right now, they're really looking to get past selling individual products and get into selling solutions. I think we are already seeing them and will increasingly see them work with major vendors like Cisco and like Microsoft and others on these kinds of packaged offerings that are solutions. They're not just a shrink-wrapped hardware product or a shrink-wrapped software product, but they are also easily consumable and sellable, and so in some respects aligned with that distribution heritage of being easy for a reseller to work with.
Right. And, Rich, we've seen these kind of business-in-the-box solutions, before. What's interesting about this one is, the partnership between Tech Data and Cisco specifically. And also more interesting is the bundling of managed services with this solution. So you could really become a sales and marketing organization selling to clinics and small and medium businesses and dropping these solutions in, and then simply just invoicing the client and paying whatever managed services fees there might be upstream. And build a nice, tidy little business around that. One thing that I note is, well, what's the missing component of this? If you really wanted to lock in a clinic or a small and medium business with this, the component that I feel is missing is like a Cisco VoIP solution, right? To just plug right in, and now you have that business's infrastructure pretty much locked down from at least that perspective. So. Be interesting to see if that's something that they make available later as an add-on or integrated, because then you pretty much locked in the infrastructure from the back end perspective. So I'll be interested to see what happens in the future.
It's a really interesting point, actually, that voice angle. I hadn't thought about that. And the other thing that's not in the bundle that Tech Data in particular calls out is there is no server.
Right.
So there's no file share. I mean, so for a complete office environment, your customer is going to need more than just one of these interconnect systems. So there's the opportunity to supplement the solution with a bigger sale. And also the opportunity to get some project work out of this in terms of implementing some of the other technologies that these businesses will need.
Well, and my counterpoint to that is pretty crafty from the solution architecture angle, because more and more businesses are moving to a serverless environment and moving to the cloud with Box and Dropbox and these types of file sharing solutions and things like that. So I think it gives maximum flexibility to the solution provider. I mean, if all you wanted to do was sell this bundle and hopefully, plug some VoIP into it as well and set up cloud services and solutions for a client, you're looking at maximizing margin with very low touch maintenance services, Rich.
Very interesting model, isn't it? That you're really not doing a whole lot of work. You're just you're doing a lot of lead gen and a lot of deal closing.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
Well, so that would be a pretty easy way to do business, but I believe your tip of the week has to do with something that's a little bit harder for a lot of our viewers.
Right. So the tip of the week, my tip of the week this week, Rich, is all about making the tough people decisions in the best interests of the overall company or organization and the majority of the staff. As you know, Rich, I work with a lot of IT solution providers and different consulting capacities. And the one thing that is probably the toughest for me to encourage leaders to do is to make tough decisions when they've got legacy, let's say employees, or even, I'll do even better, employees that have been childhood friends or are relatives, right? That seem to avoid being held accountable and, just, enjoy a different type of review process in the organization. And, the toughest job that I have is, when we look at the numbers and look at performance and look at valuation and things like that, when we see these folks that are, they've got a, from the rest of the staff's perspective, kind of a teacher's pet status and are getting paid, probably maybe more than them, and maybe are not, coming in, at 8 a.m. like everybody else. And they seem to, those types of relationships where the business owner knows, yeah, I know, I've known Bob for years and it's tough. I want us to think really carefully about what's in the best interest of the company and organization and the staff and shareholders. If you've got shareholders, if you have equity partners and things like that, I mean, these are the types of things that, you really got to think about. And once you're able to make that decision to say, listen, we need to either move you in another role and position that has, more performance-based oversight and KPIs and, really earn that position and maybe build back the trust and confidence of everybody you're working with, or, maybe it's just time for us to part ways. I think that takes that business leader, that business owner to the next level of strategic and operational maturity when you're really focused around the business, the best interest of the business and the best interest of the staff.
Always a very, very difficult conversation to have, and it's especially true basically when you're talking about somebody who, like you said, has some sort of special status in your life or has been with the company a long, long time. So I freely acknowledge that this is a really hard thing, an especially hard thing to do, but. I also agree with you that for the health of the business and just as an indicator, like you were saying, of your operational maturity, it's necessary, even if it's difficult.
Sure. And, the morale of the other staff as well, right? I mean, your staff, they watch everything and they see everything and they talk amongst themselves, right? So it's tough, to maintain a high level of morale and execution and performance when they feel there's kind of this double standard going on, right?
Yep. Absolutely, and yeah, you're completely right. You are being watched at every minute inside the company, and what you do and what you don't do is noticed, and conclusions are drawn from your action and inaction. Speaking of which, maybe that's transition to the one last story we have time for on the video here. We are returning to a theme that we have touched upon several times here in the history of the 5-Minute Roundup. The America's comfort animal crisis continues, folks. We have talked about the comfort peacock certainly in the past. Somebody wanted on the plane, some of the changes in policies that airlines have introduced. This week, we got a story about somebody in Orlando who tried to board a Frontier Airlines flight with her comfort squirrel. Now, strictly speaking, it turns out a squirrel is a rodent. And Frontier has an anti-rodent policy, even if it's a comfort rodent. So this woman was asked to leave the plane. She did not want to leave the plane. She was escorted off the plane by the police. But let that be a lesson to all of us. Do not bring a squirrel with you on your next trip.
Don't be the crazy squirrel person.
Yes.
Flight. Very good, Rich. And again, kind of a recurring theme, and I'm glad that we're able to keep, our viewers apprised of these, critical comfort animal updates as they occur.
We are on top of this developing story for you folks, and we'll continue to keep you up to date on the latest developments.
Very well.
Well, that is all the time we've got this week for the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. Thank you for watching. If you like the show and want to keep up with it, keep up with future episodes, see some of the ones we've done in the past, go ahead and subscribe to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube, and all of that, plus other video content from ChannelPro is available for you there. You want to see our coverage of the Tech Data Cisco solutions we were talking about before, and a whole lot more. Go to channelpronetwork.com. We've got new news coverage and business growth strategies and tips for you every day. You want to learn more about SPC International and the work that Eric and his team do with their clients. You want to go to consulting.spc-intl.com. That's consulting.spc-intl.com. You'll get all the details you're looking for there. We will be back next week with another episode of the 5-Minute Roundup for you. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.